that fear of her not coming home just, slightly just turned into, oh man, how police are being viewed right now. I fear that someone's going to try to come for my mom on the street or wherever she's working. But my mom is an extremely strong woman, and the way she carries herself as a police officer, I know other people, the ideas of an officer have changed because of their interaction with her.
Brothers and sisters! Brothers and sisters! I don't know what this world is coming to!
You're listening to the Black and Blue Podcast, a discussion and celebration of the roles of African Americans and other minorities in U.S. law enforcement. Your host on the Black and Blue Podcast is Dale Peters, a law enforcement professional with over 20 years experience in the business. Hop on board this Black and Blue train of interviews, current events, and pop culture conversations. So get ready. The Black and Blue Podcast is coming at you right now. What's going on, Black and Blue fam? Welcome to the latest edition of the Black and Blue Podcast, where we celebrate diversity in U.S. law enforcement. My name is Dale, and I'm the host. Thank you for tuning in today because I got a real hot one for you. But before we get to that, hey, let me ask you, please click those like, subscribe, and bell icons right down here on my YouTube channel. And if you listen to me on your favorite podcast platform of choice, make sure you rate the Black and Blue Podcast 5 stars. And finally, make sure you check me out on any one of my social media pages for even more content. You can find me everywhere at Black and Blue US. All right, so now with that out the way, hey, let's get to it. My guest today is the Assistant Sheriff of one of our country's most picturesque and iconic cities. And a little bit later, we're going to get a little bit more insight into her. So before we get to that, hey, let's bring her on. Black and Blue fam, help me give a warm welcome to San Francisco Assistant Sheriff Tanzanika Carter.
Thank you, Dale.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you. What's going on today on your Saturday morning?
Actually, it's a great day out here in the Bay Area. The sun is shining, so I think I'll go out a little bit after this and get some sun.
Yes. I was telling you before we hit record here that, my garage was a little cold because we got a little of your Bay Area weather down here in SoCal. It was raining the last couple of days, and yeah, so it's all good. It should be cleared up today, but look for it. I'm gonna get outside too here. So yeah, thanks for coming on.
No, thank you so much for having me. This is an amazing podcast. I watch it often, and so I'm just excited to be on here.
Appreciate it. So I told everybody there in the intro that you are the Assistant Sheriff of San Francisco County. Is that county or city, or is it one and the same? Sheriff's office, right?
Yes, it's actually the city and county of San Francisco, which is very unique.
Very unique. How long have you been there?
I've been at the Sheriff's Department for 3 years as the Assistant Sheriff, but I actually started my law enforcement career as a deputy in the same department back in 1996.
Oh, wow. So you've got some history, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So you started as a deputy there, then how long did you stay, and then you went somewhere else, or what happened there?
Yes, I started there in 1996 as a deputy, stayed there for 3 years, and then I went over to the BART Police Department where I stayed there for about 21 years. I thought I was going to retire. That was in my brain, but God had something different. So I retired from BART, and then a week later, I came over as the Assistant Sheriff, and I've been here ever since. So I basically came back home.
Yes. BART is an interesting police department. Tell everybody a little bit about BART.
So BART is the Bay Area Rapid Transit. It is a fast-moving train that goes underground. It goes from Oakland to San Francisco, Richmond, all over the Bay Area, now going to San Jose. So if people want to get to places in a quick manner, they hop on BART and it gets you there very quickly.
Yeah. And it's a full service law enforcement agency, right?
Full service vehicles, We're on the trains, we have cars, we're the same academies as everyone else. So it's the same kind of police department.
Wow, wow. And so you rose through the ranks there, and then you thought you were going to retire, but like you said, God had other plans for you. Ray, I appreciate you still serving in the capacity. So what do you do as the assistant sheriff over there at the sheriff's office?
As the assistant sheriff, I do a lot of the managing of different departments. We have 4 divisions in the sheriff's department: admin, field, custody, and projects and planning. Originally, I was overseeing all of the admin, the custody and field division, and now I oversee projects and planning, making sure that all of the planning that we do, all the capital planning in our department, we have the finances for it, and just bringing people together to make sure that we're on task with all of the projects that we're doing in the department. So I'm an overseer, a manager, if you will, for different divisions.
Okay. And since we did discuss that it's kind of unique as far as in the country being both the city and the county, what kind of duties does the sheriff's office have as opposed to the city's police department?
The good thing about being in the city and county of San Francisco is there are 2 law enforcement agencies that are there. SFPD, the police department, absolutely handles all of the patrol areas, the patrol functions. But with us in San Francisco as well, we handle the jails, we're bailiffs, and we do civil or civic evictions. But we also have outside field patrol. We're out there just like the SFPD, but we do also patrol in City Hall, the library, the clinics, and the hospital. So you'll see both agencies out in patrol doing what we naturally do, but you'll see us also at these other city buildings.
Got it. Got it. And so you started there, you left, you came back, and then now you're the assistant sheriff. And are you originally from the Bay Area or?
I am actually. I was born in San Francisco. My mom moved us over here to Oakland when I was 7 years old, and I've been here ever since. So I'm a Bay Area native, just doing my thing. It's really nice to be in the Bay Area and work in the Bay Area, just connecting with the people that live here. It's very nice to see and to grow up here. I went to school here. I went to Cal State Hayward. So I'm a local girl, and local
Yeah.
makes good.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I love it up there. It's beautiful. We try to make it up there at least once a year. I'm a Niner fan only because down here we didn't have a football team for so long, and we had to choose somebody, so I chose the Niners. And but I'm still a Laker fan. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it
Well,
twisted.
don't tell anybody, Dale. I actually grew up as a Lakers fan. Magic Johnson was my #1 Laker, and he, being the team player that he was, always able to pass the ball off and just bring people together. That's really how I patterned my career in law enforcement, being a team player and making sure that my team is taken care of and that they feel empowered to do their job. So I learned some skills from Magic Johnson when I was younger.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And you are a female in this in mostly male dominated profession. What's the family life for you?
The family life in law enforcement as being a female has been interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
For me in this field, we need more women voices. Absolutely. I can't say that it's always been, roses, because, being a woman in a male dominated career, there are times where the men will need to be educated on what things they can and cannot say around women. When you're in a male dominated career, the jokes have to be tempered a little bit. We have to make sure that our policies and procedures are in place. So it's great that I am a woman, and as the assistant sheriff, that I can make more changes in regards to having more women feel comfortable in this type of career, just so that they know their voices can be heard and should be heard and valued. When I was younger, of course, as a deputy or an officer, I didn't really think about that more than I do now. But we need more of those voices so that there's a complement in law enforcement where we can reach out to the community, whether they're men or women or non-binary, reach out to our community so that they see all of us, whether we're men, women, and people of color.
Excellent. Love to hear those words there. And as far as family life, you do have family. You have at least a daughter that I know of. Anybody else to mention?
I have one daughter, I have a couple of nieces, and my brother. So it's a small family, a very small knit family. I say mine. My mom had 9 other brothers and sisters. So in the scheme of things, I have a big family, but immediately I was a single mom, so I just raised my daughter.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Working and raising a daughter. And ladies and gentlemen, to help us further that discussion, let's bring on Assistant Sheriff Carter's daughter, Hadia.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on and lending some credence and some perspective to this conversation with your mom there. So I've got down there are in LA. You are not in the Bay Area. Tell everybody a little bit about where you are nowadays.
Yes, I am in Los Angeles. I moved down here for school. I just graduated last year from Loyola Marymount University with a degree in marketing. Thank you so much. And so I'm happy to still be here and actually have a job working in marketing right now. So that is what I'm doing here.
All right, congratulations. Congratulations. So apparently, mom had a big influence on continuing education there. What was it like growing up with a mom involved in law enforcement?
Oh, wow. What can I say? It was definitely an experience, a great experience. I truly, in preparation for this, I was really thinking, was there any negative thing? And there really wasn't. I have always felt safe, protected. I've been involved in a lot of different, communities and definitions of families, been around the BART family, and all these different people have seen me literally as a baby. Now, in high school, when I would go there after high school and hang out, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you." All the same thing. So I've definitely felt surrounded by love and protection for all of my life.
That is awesome. But you chose a different path. You didn't want to go into law enforcement. Tell everybody a little bit about that decision.
I did. I've always seen my mom, and of course, she is my role model. But I did not envision myself in law enforcement. I just didn't think that was the path for me. I did have a lot of other interests, though. I did a lot of sports. My mom put me in so many different programs so that I could have a very vast, idea of all the different things I could do. And that is one thing I'm so grateful for her for. She didn't try to, have me just strictly in law enforcement, but she really encouraged me to figure out what I wanted to do and where I fit in. So I am so happy now to have found marketing and business, just like this, being able to talk to people, meet new people, and do a lot of different things on different platforms. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you were in your 20s, I would gather, and nowadays, people of your generation, not your mom and I's generation, but are really big on social media, and so am I. You see down there on the banner, it's got all my social medias,
Yes,
but law enforcement has been taking some big hits on social media and regular media in the last few years. What has your perspective been as as not a sibling, but as a daughter of someone in law enforcement, and when you see these sorts of things, and maybe even your circle of friends have a different perspective?
definitely. I have seen a lot of different things, like you said. Growing up in the world of social media, I have now seen a lot more, police stops and a lot of things that weren't beforehand, seen by the public. So of course that caused a lot of discourse and a lot of perspective that I had based on just conversations with my mom. I know a lot of the things that you're that happens in those situations. But now people see them and they have a lot of different things to say. And now I think, well, I can just use my mom as an example. I'm a little biased. My mom's social media, she is showing all of the uplifting things she's doing in the community. And I just hope that other, police officers see that and say, there are things we can do. It doesn't have to be, the negative things, police stops recording those situations, but her just having fun, meeting people in the community, toy drives, community events, events for people of different orientations. My mom is at them all. And I believe that is something that other, organizations can follow as well.
Yeah, you can see it on mom's face how proud she is of you to be able to being able to articulate that.
Definitely. She's my role model. Like I said before, what she is doing, I think I can, even if I'm not in the police, law enforcement field, I can take it and in my personal life and use it there.
Yeah, yeah. So I know it was tough. Mom did say that, she raised you as a single mom. Why don't both of you talk about, what that experience was like as you were growing up and mom, had to go to work?
Mhm.
Well, I can definitely say that Hadia is my inspiration, and I tell her that all the time. When I got pregnant, I was a new person at the BART Police Department, and I really wanted to focus in on being a great mother. I was raised by a single mom who was an amazing mother, but she had to work two jobs, and she didn't have an opportunity to really be in my life physically, in my life, for my sporting events and things like that. I ran track and cross country, and she wasn't there. So when I got pregnant, I wanted to make sure that I was physically there for my child, which ended up being my daughter. And having a daughter just really made it more in the forefront of being a role model and a mentor to this little being, making sure that my life lined up the way my mother had lined it up for me, being, in the Lord, being respectful and things like that. So she really focused me in, and I wanted her to see me as a strong Black woman so that she could see herself in that way, to model my behaviors and not just be like me, but actually be better than me. And that's really been what I've wanted this entire time. And so I am proud because she picked her own pathway and she's flying. And I'm very proud that she has still aligned herself with God and being the person that I know she could be.
Awesome,
Wow. Well,
awesome.
thanks. I
Yeah,
was
go ahead,
going to say,
Adia.
Mom, how can I follow up with that? But everything she said is right on. First, she from birth placed me on the path of following God, knowing Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and that already set me up with such an amazing life. But moving as I've gotten older, and I didn't know early on, I was being loved with my grandmother, my uncle, other loved ones, family. I was this is just a good time. But my mom, she made the sacrifices. She put me in the hands of loved ones to go work. And later on, I really saw, everything that she was doing, how late she was staying early. She was getting up in the morning. And I just saw it, and I said, let me do whatever I can do. As I got into high school, I took the bus. I said, this is something I can do to, make my mom's life easier after everything she's done for me for years. So there were things, other things that I know people my grade didn't have to do, but I was happy to do it because it was, me and her together working and making sure I was getting to school, she was getting to work, and we were just doing what we had to do.
Yeah, yeah. Now, growing up, you knew that your mom was in law enforcement. Were you worried when she had to work those nights and, knowing what could happen to her?
I used to be extremely worried about her. I would, just to be frank, fear that she wouldn't come home. But I know my
Yeah.
mom has instilled in me a lot that she was going to do whatever, and I mean whatever she had to do to get home to me. And after all, I was like, you know what? Yep, I believe that. So that fear of her not coming home just, slightly just turned into, oh man, police, how police are being viewed right now. I fear that someone's going to try to come for my mom on the street or wherever she's working. But my mom is an extremely strong woman, and the way she carries herself as a police officer, I know other people, the ideas of an officer have changed because of their interaction with her, and that has made me feel better about her safety.
Yeah, yeah. So, Tanzania, talk about, you were talking about earlier when you got pregnant and you had to worry about, being at work and, the voices of females in law enforcement, are, they're growing. We got the 30 by 30 pledge. Let's talk about that for one. Is your agency thinking about, adding more females to this profession so that, we can get the voices of more women out there in this profession?
Oh, definitely. We are part of the 30 by 30 initiative. We took the pledge about 2 years ago, and I'm the program chair. And it's just been a great honor. So far, we've had 2 women's leadership conferences, inviting more women voices in, and not just in law enforcement, but we've talked to mayors, city managers, women in military officers in key positions, because for me, it's, of course, I want more women in law enforcement, but the bigger and broader picture is to make sure that women, like my daughter, has a voice wherever they go. And so that's been my message, not just to get women in law enforcement, which is the key, but to let all women know that their voices matter. My daughter's voice matter, her friends' voices matter. It's that important. And so I'm excited that the sheriff agrees and aligns with me in regards to that, and that he signed on the pledge. So to date, just the last 2 years, he has promoted 4 females, 1 to a chief and 3 to captains, and 2 are African-American females. 1 is the first Asian female to become captain in our department. She just became the first. And it's exciting that she's the first Asian female, and it's exciting that I was the first Black female to be the assistant sheriff. But when you think about the department has been around for over 170 years, it's also a little sad because in 170 years, we have just reached the mark of the first Asian female and the first Black female to get into these positions. And so there's a lot of work to go, but we have now chipped away at that glass ceiling. And I am excited to see even more women come to this department or go where they want to go and to really feel empowered to speak their truth.
Yeah, that's interesting because you think of San Francisco being the leader in most diverse causes in the nation, and especially with the population of Asians in the Bay Area, that would have taken place long ago.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I spoke to her about it, and she was advising me on the culture, of the Asian culture, that a lot of women may not have wanted to take up law enforcement because of their culture. And that's the great thing about being in the sheriff's department and being so diverse as we are, is that I'm still learning about different cultures. That little interaction that we had kind of brought to light maybe why there hasn't been an Asian female who has taken over that. But like she said, things are changing. And when they see her, they will see themselves. When the Black community, especially little Black girls, when they see me, they will see themselves and will know that they can too be a part of the law enforcement community. And that really makes me happy to know that someone can look at me and see themselves through me and do more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And let's continue that thought where little Black girls and little girls period can look at you and see that they can achieve the assistant sheriff or even sheriff or chief of an organization. But let's talk about your journey along the way. First of all, what kind of interests you in law enforcement to begin with, and what have you done, any of the cool assignments or things that you've done along the way, so that other women, other girls can see that I can be whatever, a motor or a canine or what have you.
Yep. And I'm just like any other girl back in the day. I was a latchkey kid. Like I said, I was hula hooping, jumping rope, hopscotch, jacks. That was me. So if that's you, you can
You
do
you,
this
you just
job.
dated yourself there.
I was
Talking
gonna
about
say, Mom, I don't
Jax.
think anybody knows what you just said.
Oh, y'all into PlayStations.
Well,
Okay.
I know, Tans, I know.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just like anybody else. And my interest in law enforcement actually happened when I was about 11 years old. Like I said, my mom worked two jobs. So my aunt would take care of me, and she had 4 or 5 kids at the time. So I really was raised with my cousins. Well, one of my cousins, he was 2 years older than me, and he would go in and out of jail, like juvenile hall all the time. And it would make my aunt so sad. But I really didn't understand at the time what this was. I knew that some police had taken him to some place called juvenile hall, and it caused a lot of sadness in my family. But as I got older, my cousin still went to jail, but I kind of understood it better. And I thought I was going to be a psychologist. In my mind, I wanted to understand the mind of my cousin and people who, to me, liked going to jail. And so then I went to Cal State Hayward. I took some psychology classes, found out that wasn't for me. But then I took some criminal justice classes, and it intrigued me. During that time, I was a Sunday school teacher. I've been teaching Sunday school since I was 16 years old. So I always loved children. And I learned about the DARE program, in college, and all the wonderful things that, you know, police officers did. I love coaching and mentoring, and it just seemed like that was something that I would be good at. When I graduated from Cal State Hayward, I received a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and one in ethnic studies. With the minor was not the minor, but the option was African American studies. So I learned a lot about African American culture, and I became a youth counselor at the YMCA. It was the East Lake YMCA for those who live in the Bay Area. I was there for probably a year or so, and then the sheriff's department came about where they were hiring. During that time in 96, it was a lot of openings. I mean, thousands of openings everywhere. And the sheriff's department chose me. When I got into the academy, it was great. I mean, I say it was great because I was just used to that type of back and forth between recruits and folks who have to teach you. So I had no problems with that. And then my first day at the sheriff's department, there was a lot of excitement there. And I just felt like it was a place where I could really grow and be myself. Talking to people, I love to talk to people. I've met people there who was coming into the jail that I knew. I was able to comfort them in a way, them seeing me gave them some sort of piece of being in the jail. And I was heavily into what I was doing at my church at the time. I did a lot at my church. And so it made sense that I was there being a calmer and a comforter to those that came in the jail. So I had a purpose, and I knew that that was my purpose when I got there.
Nice. And then your career at BART, what was that like?
At BART, it was great because that's where I really learned to be the leader that I am today. I was there for a while, became a field training officer, training other people. I was a chaplain coordinator. I did detectives for a while, detectives for 5 years. Then I promoted up to being a sergeant, a field training sergeant, meaning I would train other trainers who were training the officers. And and then I promoted up to being a lieutenant, and I had a job or assignment as the zone commander. So I was over Contra Costa County. Anything Contra Costa County I dealt with it. I did community events, the toy drives that Hadia is talking about, and some of the other events that we had in Contra Costa. We put those together with my team, with my sergeants and other officers and the community service officers. And I was really able to connect with all the different stakeholders in Contra Costa, Richmond, Pittsburgh, Concord. That was all of me. And I did that for about, I believe, 3 years, 2 or 3 years. And it was time to retire. And right before retirement, the sheriff had seen me in different venues, and he had just became a new sheriff. He remembered me from when I was a deputy. Have always been a hard worker. That is who I am. I believe that's why he called on me. And I had these other outside experiences that a lot of people in the sheriff's office did not have, dealing with patrol. And he gave me this opportunity to really grow. It was an opportunity that challenged me because from BART being 200, 250, let's say 300 people, to a department that was about 800 people was a big jump. But I had always told Hadia that when God gives you an opportunity, that you take it. And I had told her that like all her life. And now it was my turn to not only walk the walk, but to talk the talk, but to walk it. For her to see that everything that I had been telling her throughout her life was now it was my turn to do the same thing. And so how could I not, take this opportunity and just embrace it, to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, learning new things, growing and challenging myself. And I did that because I'm constantly wanting to be a role model for her. No matter where I am in my career, I want to make sure that she understands she could be my age and still walking and challenging herself to do and be whatever God wants her to do.
That part right there. And Hadia, we're talking. Your mom was talking about all the experiences, and you even brought up growing up. Going to her events. Did she do the same in the capacity of a law enforcement officer? Did you get a chance to brag to your schoolmates that hey, this is my mom? Did she do a bring your mom to school day and all that sort of stuff to show that hey, look at my mom?
Can I just say everyone loved my mom in all aspects of school. She killed it when I was in elementary school, high school. She like I don't know. She just found her niche, and she, like I said before, even if they didn't know her as a police officer, her disposition was just so positive, so joyous, and I definitely felt like, yeah, I'm the best mom. There's no doubt about it. So it has definitely it's brought the people who she loves, my friends. It has brought our community. She takes them as her daughters. Talking about our family earlier, she has all, of course, little other daughters scattered around that she loves, and she's just that type of person. Regardless of connection, she loves you. God loves you. She brings everyone in, and so it has definitely been great to see that in all different aspects of my life.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, hey, Assistant Sheriff Carter, let's talk about your job now as the Assistant Sheriff. Let's talk about the most rewarding parts of your job today.
Dale, as you promote up, you have more touches on people. That's the great thing about this job. I am modeling the way for the people that's coming behind me, and not just the deputies, but the other supervisors. I want them to see me and what I'm doing in the community and understand that is where we are headed. For those who don't understand in law enforcement, we have to have a bigger footprint in our communities. We are the community. We are one community. It is not us versus them. And so the most rewarding thing that I really appreciate is the fact that my voice is bigger. It connects with many more people, community people externally and those internally. I am trying to make sure that our community understands who we are. And I need for the people that work with me to understand how important the community is as well. So it's been very rewarding to just get the word out, to model the way to more people, to have more touches, more collaborations, even more freedom. As you said earlier, if I did this podcast as a deputy or an officer, of course you would have to get permission. And yes, make sure everyone knows the sheriff understands I'm here today, but the freedom to have my own voice, because I have my own experiences as a law enforcement officer that are different than other people. And now they can connect with me. They can contact me. For instance, recently, an incident happened at the jail. Not a bad thing per se, but one of the mom was, or the wife was able to contact me, and we just connected on several levels. Being faith-based, being people of color, being women. And so any incidents, like any critical incidents, could be mitigated because of the experience of who I am, the experiences I have and who I am. It helps in the connection between the community and law enforcement. And that is what is most rewarding, is the connections that I make with the community, and having them see cops and deputies in a different light than what they would normally see in, a regular contact.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. You did speak about that incident right there where you were able to connect with that person and kind of, I don't know, bring them to an understanding. One good thing about having women in law enforcement is, in this day and age of de-escalation, is that women are naturally more able to, talk to other people and kind of de-escalate those sorts of things, as opposed to a lot of males in our profession that are hard chargers and want to act first before de-escalating. So it's great to hear that as women that we need in this profession, so we can kind of start on the 2024 mission of de-escalating, as opposed to uses of force, and try to get those numbers down, right?
That's right. And the research does show, of course, that more women in our law enforcement, that de-escalation rises, uses of force go down. It's been a great cultural shift, because as more women come in, it's like a spark that catches fire. So not just women are seeing that how important de-escalation is, the men are too. And so it's great, because the more that we have these voices in here and the different mindset, the more other people see the value of what we bring to the table. And so
Yes.
it's great, because we complement each other. We also need women who are hard chargers when it's time to
Yes.
be, and we need men to de-escalate when it's time to be. And so both of us working together, learning from each other, gives us balance in law enforcement. And so we can just continue to work and complement each other, and with our gifts and our talents. So that's the beauty of what's happening right now in law enforcement, is that people understand the value of a woman's voice and what it can bring to the table when we have women leaders, women in key positions. And of course, and I say key positions, but even as deputies, we are all leaders. And just because I have a title doesn't mean that I'm a great leader. So we want to make sure that people, wherever they are great leaders, and that they're bringing something to the table that will help not only other women, but the men that are side by side with them as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then real quick, on the flip side, I asked you what's the most rewarding part of your position. What about on the flip side? What's the more challenging part?
Well, there's a couple of things. So one thing, being the assistant sheriff, people think you can just say something and it changes. Whether you're a
It
deputy,
doesn't?
no, sir, not like that. There's always a process. And so the point is to always remind people that there is a process. And that goes in-house with our deputies as well as in our community. They see the stars and they just think that I can sign a piece of paper and it is done. But it takes work. Even in the community, I want people to understand we have to work together. And the most discouraging thing at times is that people don't understand I want to work with the community to make positive change happens. that we can agree to disagree and still love on each other, that's okay. Recently, last year, at the end of last year, we were going to put on a town hall meeting. Some of the community activists that we work with, they wanted to have this town hall meeting for people or families who are affected by those who are in our jail. The sheriff appointed me that task because he knows I'm very community oriented to work with the group. It was about 6 different group leaders and myself. And I went to them and I said, what do you envision? What do you want? It's not about me, it's about us. And we worked very well together with planning this event. Well, the event didn't happen. And it was because someone else outside of their group, was one of their group members, did not want to work with law enforcement. But how do we get to a place where we can hear each other's voice if you're not willing to work with us? And so it discourages me because I've been Black more often than I've been in law enforcement. And I've been a woman all my life as well. And so I'm coming to a community that I want them to see me as part of their community. And sometimes it's disappointing because they don't see me. They don't see my heart. They see this uniform and then they cut themselves off without giving me an opportunity to help them. And really, that's what I want to do, is help. So I implore the people that are listening to this right now not to cut off their law enforcement agencies. But if a law enforcement agency extends their hand, at least give them an opportunity to make it right and to work with them to make positive change happen, because we have to do it together. A house divided is going to fall. So we have to work together if we want to, have positive change.
Indeed. Well said. So on that note, what's next for you two? We can start with you, Hadia. What's next for you? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Oh, wow. In 5 years. Well, I'm actually turning 23 in less than a month. So in 5 years,
Right.
I'll be 27, turning 28. I don't even know what my mom feels about that. She won't even accept it. But I am excited to hopefully be working at a higher position in business. I right now, like I said, I majored in marketing, but I'm beginning to learn more about production and putting on events. So I'm really excited about doing that this year, being able to travel to more events and learn the back end of that. But also excited, hopefully, to be married and have a family. Being surrounded by family, I'm just excited to start my own family. And yeah, traveling, still loving the Lord, still following Jesus.
Amen. And you, A.S. Carter.
I think that I will be retired. I say that because I said that before and God
Said that
laughed at
before.
me. But when retirement does happen, I still see myself teaching, mentoring, coaching. I love sports, so I could definitely see myself teaching and traveling. I've started traveling already. I'm going to Greece this year, Dubai next year. And so I am easing into that to, expand on my traveling experiences as well. But in the bigger picture, I still think that I'll be somehow, engrafted in law enforcement. And I definitely love to teach. Like I said, I've been teaching since I was 16 years old. That's in me to do that. And I want to make sure that the next generation of law enforcement officers get it. So even if I'm not active or, sworn, I will still be around this career, making sure, holding others accountable like the community should do. I'll be part of those people, making sure that the next group of law enforcement, holding them accountable to do the right thing, to be people of integrity. And that's just who I am.
You ever thought about public office, politician?
I'm not a politician, Dale.
I beg to differ. You are a politician. You're the assistant sheriff of San Francisco County.
I'm letting the sheriff do his thing, and he lets me do my thing.
All right, copy that. Copy that. So and then so you're already double dipping, no triple dipping. Yeah. Another agency. Yeah, you never know. You never know if the opportunity comes. So, all right. So as we wrap this up, how about some words of wisdom from you two? With you, Hadia, how about someone that's watching or listening that has a parent in law enforcement, and they're worries that they may be experiencing. Kind of give them some words of wisdom to live by and to think about as they're coming up.
Absolutely. I would say keep our parents uplifted. I know definitely that I had to separate my mom from her police officer. And, as my mother, they are two different, identities, but they are moms. So keep respecting them. And I would say if anyone has anything to say about law enforcement, we just share what we know, watching them, what they brought to the profession, and hopefully what they taught us and how we teach that to other people.
Indeed. And you, Tans, about some words of wisdom to anybody listening or watching that is aspiring to achieve their goals in this profession.
I just want everybody to know that this job needs new voices. We need people who want to challenge the system. We understand that law enforcement could be so much better. So many improvements need to be made, and it's room on the outside where we do all the marches and things like that, but there's room for you here on the inside to make the change happen, to change policies and procedures and processes. And so I would encourage those of you who want to implement positive change in law enforcement to really think about a career, because it's not a job, it's a career in law enforcement. The processes are slow. That's the way it is, but it is moving. And so I encourage women, I encourage people of color to be a part of the process of positive change and to apply and get hired in these wonderful positions, especially in the San Francisco Sheriff's Office, where we have over 200 openings. We need your voice. We value who you are, and we want you to start your careers here. In fact, please come aboard while I'm here, because you know what I'm about. And if you're about what I'm about, we can really make some stuff happen. So please come aboard. And Dale, if you would just indulge me, I also just want to give a shout out to my she's not my blood daughter, but she's my spirit daughter, Alasia, Hadia's best friend from LMU. She has been a godsend in my life as well. And like Hadia says, I have many daughters, but these two right here, Hadia and Alasia, they are the reason that I continue to do what I do, to make sure that their voices are heard. And I just wanted to tell her as well that I love her and I hope that she's safe.
Absolutely. Love it. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Yes, yes. All right, ladies. Hey, I appreciate both of you coming on and giving us some knowledge and some insight, and you, Hadia, some insight on your mom and and growing up as a kid. Not so much a latchkey kid, were you? Or were you?
I'm a latchkey?
Yeah.
She doesn't know what that is, Dale.
Oh. Were you left to your own devices to fend for yourself growing up as mom was at work, or you were dropped off at family members' houses, right?
It was a bit of a mix. Definitely when I was involved in sports and I was able to go hang out with teammates over teammates' house and stay over there. But over time, of course, my mom trusted me and raised me in a way to take care of myself. And I was able to, stay home until my mom got there. And there were never any incidences. I was always safe. So thank you, God.
All right. All right. Yeah, I came up as a latchkey kid myself. And Lord, some of the things I did when Mom, I hope you're not watching, listening. Hey, ladies. Hey, I appreciate you once again. And hey, be safe. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much for letting us be here.
You got it. Absolutely.
Bye.
Okay, now, told y'all this was going to be fire. Hey, I want to thank San Francisco Assistant Sheriff Tanzanika Carter and their daughter Hadia for giving us some insight on what it's like to be a woman, mother, and leader in the law enforcement profession. I really enjoyed our conversation, ladies, and hope you enjoyed it too. If you guys out there got some value out of this episode, go on ahead and let me know by leaving a comment down below. And don't forget to like and share this episode as well. I'll be back in another couple weeks with another awesome story from a minority in law enforcement, but till then, y'all know what I'm about to say. Stay black and blue. I'll holler at you. Peace.
This has been a Maitre D Entertainment presentation.